Hello, everybody, and welcome to another topic of the week. I'm looking in an odd angle, or I have my glasses on today for this, because we're going to be reviewing the budget of Sigmar. And what is that? Well, we'll talk about it more in a minute. But first, standard preamble. Last week's topic of what does wargaming mean to you was really great. There was a lot of good responses. I just wanted to take a moment to highlight one I really loved, which was Lady Phoenix, and you can find that linked, as always, down below. And you will see the link for last week's video, which contains all the links for the videos that were submitted. And I thought Lady Phoenix's response was absolutely great. And it really talked about what wargaming has meant, in her life, and, the job that she has is really important and really cool. And it's neat that wargaming gets to be a part of that and that it gives her a community. And I think it spoke to something that really talked to me of the great relationships you form through this, even if you never meet the people, just all the ways we form these relationships and get to know these people and the community that we formed, and how great of a thing that is, that this little game of plastic miniatures, brings us all together. And I thought that was really awesome, and I really loved that video, so you should go watch that as well. But that preamble out of the way, let's turn to this week's topic, which is the budget of Sigmar. And so what we're going to do, this is going to be a very long topic of the week, and there's not really anything you can greatly respond to with this. As I had said a month ago, I'm going to spend one topic of the week every week, focusing on the budget of Sigmar. And October was big. We had a lot of budgeteers submit. And so in a moment, we're going to go over and screen share. And we're going to look at, people's progress and how they went through the month. I'm not sure how I'm going to organize this, in all honesty, yet. It's going to be a little tricky. So I ask you all to bear with me. I'm going to do my best to go through, because this has both starting commitments, progress, and then the final shots. And I didn't think ahead enough to give like 3 different categories, which would be weird anyways. So we're kind of dealing with a little bit of a category challenge here, but we're going to do our best. So this is basically sort of half topic of the week, half, month-end review. Now, what is the budget of Sigmar? Let me talk about that. So last month, we decided to start a community project to build an army, much in the style of the old Tale of Painters. And everybody's budget is $50 a month to build an army over what's basically a 6-month period. And you have your goal at the end of having at least 30 models and 100 wounds. And the challenge is to, of course, stay cheap, stay within your budget, and collect a new fun force maybe that you've always wanted to do, to challenge yourself to find that stuff cheap, to get the good deals, to put together a nice, robust force. And you have to, of course, paint them every month before you can get the new stuff. If you're interested in joining, this is only the beginning of month 2, so you can still certainly make the goal. And if you'd like to join, the information will be down below for that. Okay? So all that being said, let's go over here. What's over here for me, what to you is just going to be, you can look in the same place you're currently looking. But let's go over and take a look at the budgeteer's progress this month. So I'm going to screen share up, and then we'll continue. All right, so here we go with the budget of Sigmar. Now, I am also going to, down below, once this is all uploaded and done, I am going to put a link to all of the videos that were submitted. So there will be lots of these video links. Everything you see here that's a video, I'm not going to touch on it now. I'm going to link to all these videos, okay? So let's move through it. We had Ashkus the Muse, who is doing his Slanesh stuff, and we'll see that as we go on. Neil Young, who is doing his Orcs and Goblins. And the first one up was his Arachnarok. We'll actually see a little more of that as we go on. But we come to our first one, which is Dialogicals. And he is looking at some Nurgle stuff. And so here, let's take a look at his Nurgle Warriors. And these guys, I don't know what they're from. They're clearly resin or whatnot. But man, those are cool figs. I don't know if those are Forge World or what those are, but man, those are some sweet figs. So heck of a commitment. I think he says he got him on a good deal here. And I think that's an awesome force to start. So let's move on. Matthew John Goodacre. And hopefully, Matt, I said that right this time. We had a little discussion about me pronouncing his last name. If I did it wrong again, I'm sorry, man. I'm really trying. And I love this picture because you can see he's got his herald. He's got some plague bearers. He's got another guy. And look at that. He's got the total cost right there for it. 30 pounds, just under budget there of 35 in the UK. So absolutely fantastic. Great all-in-one photo. And Matt's going to have some good work very soon. Ambassador with his Ripper Dipper Doos, the little Ripper Dactyls. They could be models Pterodons. I don't know. But that's his first one. You can see we've got them all primed up there, ready to work. Vlad with his Skaven, definitely supporting that. And he's decided to start with a couple big cannons. Definitely a nice choice. The Gonk over here is going to do some zombie pirates for part of a larger force. So that'll be a cool one to see evolve. Right now, we're just kind of setting them all up of what's going on with everybody's commitment. Scott R with some, I assume Dark Elves, because he's got the big Dark Elf Black Dragon, and he'll probably just take the Banner Bearer, which isn't actually Dark Elves, and turn that over to be a Dark Elf. But great grab on those for the price, to get those in under the cost. And obviously, I love that Dark Elf Black Dragon model. Absolutely fantastic. And I know Scott did finish this, so we'll see that later on. Okay. Here we see what the Gonk actually committed to, which was 10 pirate zombies and a powder monkey and 3 old school ghouls. So clearly some vampire counts there. So here we now have our first person who had some models complete. Matt just knocked this stuff out, and I really think he did a good job. And so this is where we'll spend some more time. He was doing his Nurgle models, and you can see he gives us his wounds and model count there. Very nice. Thanks, Matt. And let's take a look at what he did. So we see here his plague bearers in the background, his herald, and then this was this wonderful conversion for this Nurgle sorcerer, and I really love this guy. It's actually the necromancer fig or whatnot from the Vampire Counts line, but then with the sort of chaosy head there, and obviously done in the Nurgle color scheme. So these just look great. There's a couple other photos. Let's just kind of move through them here. Other angles. I think Matt did a great job. Nurgle is one of those forces that can look dirtier, and I think he's got good color contrast here. I like the greens and browns he's used. Very organic, gross tones, very appropriate for Nurgle. And I love that he set it off with these bright pink innards. He really went to a high pinkish red with those, and I think it's just a fantastic contrast. With the very muddy browny green. I also just want to give a special comment, as always, to his basing here. I like the different mix of all the materials, the dead grass, and we got some rocks and a lot of different colors. Really works well with the overall models. So great conversions, great color scheme, great execution. Really full props to Matt for this budget of Sigmar. Fantastic starting force. And as you can see here, he's got 21 wounds and 12 models after the first month. So really, really on his way. And then we've got some zoom ins on the other guys here. The Herald, the Rotbringer, Sorcerer, and the 10 Plague Bearers. So absolutely fantastic. And then here we've got some better picks. Okay, so let's take a look at those. So here we can see that. And then these really are a lot more clear. I like the lighting here. The pink innards really pop here. Anybody who knows me knows I'm not a huge fan of Nurgle. I find him gross. But I will say, Matt, your execution is deliciously gross here. When people do Nurgle right, even though it doesn't serve my personal aesthetic and I might not like it, I have to respect it. And this is some well-done Nurgle. Okay. So we've got some other videos. Those will be linked in here with Eason T and Paul Conti talking about their project and what armies they selected. As usual, I won't spend too much time on my stuff. I will simply say that my choice was to do a Warriors of Chaos Tzeentch. I managed to pick up some great deals on some Warriors. I got 10 Chaos Knights for basically $3 a piece, or $15 for a pack of 5. Can't argue with that. So this was my first group of Chaos Knights. I also got a Cockatrice on a very nice discount. And so I'm very happy with all these guys and how they came out and the color scheme. It was a chance to use some colors I had really been wanting to use heavily, this blue and these purples. I love these types of colors. It was fun to try to figure out how to do these Ice Lake bases, to do some tattoo work on these guys. There's just a lot of fun little challenges. And yeah, it was a great time. I very much enjoyed doing these, and I'm continuing to build it out in month 2. The Angry Redbeard with the start of his Budget of Sigmar project. Again, all the videos will be linked, so don't worry, they're all down there, so if you want to watch through them all, you can. My co-host from Warhammer Weekly, Tom, with his initial shot, which is of his dwarves. He scored a heck of a deal on a bunch of dwarves, so $20 for a whole heck of a lot of dwarves, that's for sure. And then he's got the artillery kit here he picked up for $17. And then finally the Dwarven Brew Guy, which he got for something less than that. Obviously, I think he says in there what he actually negotiated it down to. But good old Joseph Bugman, which is certainly a nice score. So Tom expanding out into the Dwarven realm. I never support that, but I'm glad to see that he did it. And he's currently furiously painting dwarves, trying to get himself through all of them because he made a heck of a commitment there. All right, Dice Miniature Paint Guy with a video. I believe he's doing some corn stuff. I think he's starting with the corn Blood Tide out of the book, so that's great. Let's move on. Mr. Lee Mech Shop also doing some Nurgle, so that's really nice. He also scored a good deal on a nice box of Plague Bearers. And then it looks like we've got an Epidemius ready to do some tallying, all nicely magnetized. Got a little Bray Shaman there, which I assume is going to become a Pestigore. So great stuff. Those should, looking forward to seeing those along. Paul, as we mentioned, decided to go with corn. And so here's the, oh, that is a very small picture, Paul. I can actually see it better here. But he's going, you can see that's a lot of the Blood Tide out of the AOS box set, plus a second more. So I think he picked up some spare parts, spare groupings of models. And I will say, for those out there looking to do, sort of these starter armies, if you're interested in either the Stormcast or the corn stuff, you really can get these models very cheap on like bit sites and stuff out there. So definitely a cool way to expand your forces if you're interested in it. Steve and Julian doing some Liberators, doing some Prosecutors, and then his Liberator Prime, which is great. So good to see those coming along. He's a newer painter, newer member of the community, so just starting out. And I think that's what's very exciting about the Budget of Sigmar, is it's great for our new people to, try and get advice and things like that. And so I think, Stephen, when I'm looking at these, my 2 pieces of advice for you right off the bat are, 1, we need to thin these paints down. Working in metallics, it's tough to thin them because you can't thin them really with water. Your pigment breaks up. But I would look at maybe some Vallejo thinner, or even just some Lamia medium if you're using Citadel stuff. That would work fine, because this looks thick. The paint looks thick. Looks like you took it sort of straight out of the pot, put it on there. You can just kind of tell what paint looks like when that happens. The other thing I would say is let's look into some Citadel shades or washes or something like that, because with just that, you could really create a lot of tonal variation. We've got a base coat here, but then it feels like that's where we've stopped, and we can go the next level. And I'd also maybe check out some basing items. But could be progress. Obviously, these don't necessarily have to be done. So there's lots of ways we could go there. But it's definitely a great start. And again, if you're looking to pick these kinds of things up, you can really do a Stormcast army quite cost effectively. Ace and T with his showcase here for his Teto Echo, for his Lizardmen. And I'm just gonna actually show this real quick, just because I'm gonna skip ahead, because I absolutely love the colors on this. I won't. I'll just leave that up for a minute so it's not trying to play. But Oh my God, I love this model so much. Asen just knocked it out of the park. I love the basing. It's just so ridiculous and over the top and rainbow hued. This is a total A plus. It's Lizardmen are one of the few armies you can get away with things like this on, and he absolutely did it. It's great. Okay, let's go back out there. Hopefully we're still sharing. Okay, jumping to a video is really pushing my luck, but there we go. Okay, so let's skip past the rest. We'll go to Rasmus, who is doing his sleigh rider here. Love it. We talked about it a little in the PMP. Good tonal variation, lots of different colors on the gold on the sled. I mentioned already some notes on that. That's in the PMP review, but certainly a great first model for that. Angry Redbeard, who like I said, his video was linked earlier, but he's doing some Beastmen. Glad to see that, and I love all the basing work he's done here. We got to get some better photos, but he says that he knows we got to get some better lighting. But I love that he's put this big guy with this big rock in the background, so that's fantastic. And I think it's in, there we go, in this picture. He's even got some little, some little freehand on the rock, so that's great. And, he's starting out with this, and I think it's a great first effort. I know he said he wants a more ivory tone, and I don't think this is as stark white as the color or the photo would be telling us, just because I think the flash knocks it out. If you can avoid it, never use flash or direct lighting with the photos of your models. You're going to destroy any good work you did. But very happy to see that coming along. Sean Cavanaugh over here also doing some Lizardmen, and boy, again, this just really reinforces that you can just get away with such crazy color schemes on Lizardmen, and it looks appropriate. And he's really done a fantastic just rainbow. I mean, this is a Skittles explosion. And but he's executed it well on all of them. I like his blends, and there's a lot of good highlighting and fades here. And my favorite is definitely the Skink Priest up front here with the big giant rainbow feathers. I think this is a great looking little unit of skinks, little skinkies. So fantastic first unit for the month, for your first budget. Paul Conti over here with his, there we go, not a tiny picture coming along. He wanted to go for a very iron heavy, corn as opposed to the traditional red. So we'll see how those look like they're primed and maybe washed. So coming along, like maybe a little highlight there on the silver, very bright. Sean Cavanaugh also with some with a Korgorath. So I don't know if he's doing a couple different armies for the budget. He's going all in or what, but there you go. Kind of a little discussion on painting skin and stuff there. So yeah, I don't know if maybe he decided to end up going with corn. Started with Lizardman, then decided to go corn, and hey, that's fine. Also going for some very silver. So I think it's interesting. I think a lot of people want to go somewhere different than just the traditional red. And I can understand that, because when I painted mine, I did feel a little hemmed in by that red, and I really like what's going on there. Hooves of Doom, who's doing some tree men, like some Sylvaneth / Wood Elves, and he actually did Durthu for his first month. And I absolutely love the job he did here. The orange just pops. Looks fantastic. I know he said that he followed the Durthu painting instructions or video that was that Games Workshop put out, and if that's true, he executed on it very well. Super bright, flamey colors that are just such a good offset against that navy blue and the black. Wonderful, wonderful examination of contrasting colors and stuff like that. And I think this is just executed really well. So yeah, great work, Hooves, and absolutely stunning first model. It's only one model. You're gonna need to hope you got some dryads in the clutch for next month, so you can build up your model count. Though you certainly got a good number of wounds out of the first one. We'll skip Tom's because that was more for other people with the budget, and go back to Eason T here, who we can see is continuing on the let's go crazy with colors. This is just, again, color explosion, and I love it. I think he's using fish tank terrain for all the colored flowers and such, which is a really great thing you can do. If you're ever looking for really unusual terrain pieces, go hunt up that fish tank terrain. Take take a shopping trip out to your local pet store and see what you got there. You can find some great terrain pieces for your table, as well as some really interesting basing materials. And you can usually get it on the mega cheap, certainly comparatively to what that stuff would cost if you were buying it from a hobby store. Absolutely fantastic, Eason. Ashicus is continuing on with his budget of Sigmar. I already know we're going to see more of that as we go on here. A lot of people got a bunch of good work in at the end of the month. Stephen Julian continuing on with his Sigmar. And look at all this. Man, what a powerhouse first month he did. You know, for a new painter to paint through all of this in 1 month, you know, Stephen, way to go. I know there's lots of feedback given, and I think that's great. That's exactly what it is. But I just wanted to congratulate you on painting so much here in the first month. That's really working hard. And to just jump in with both feet, full admiration to you, sir. David Griffin with his budget of Sigmar, which is some Bretonia. Man, I love that. That's great. It's always good to see people starting a Bretonian army and keeping the Bretonian dream alive as someone who has a large Bret army and saved it for something that really was a passion project. I love this, and I think it's a great way to get it. Yeah, coming along with several Peg Knights, and then his Lord, I assume probably bet his Lord and his Damsel on Pegasus. So that's great. Looking good there. My only, one small note for you, David, is when it comes to Bretonians, never, and maybe this was just progress, maybe this has changed since then, never leave a blank shield. You know, these Bretonians are the time where you start doing some freehand. And I see you've got some over here on this guy. I can see a cross. You're going the right direction. It looks like there's maybe some hidden here too. My only ask would be, let's see some more pictures in the future, buddy. I want to see more of these knights. I like very much how he's varied up the wingy pattern. So we can see very different tones used on a lot of them. You know, the gray to white and sort of dark, light, very dark. You know, you can see all these wings look different. But he's kept it all in just different kinds of bird wings that I could picture existing in the world. You know, eagles and things like that. Hawk wings, they look very much reminiscent of that. So well done on that, David. I really like it. Okay. We won't jump ahead to November stuff too much, except that I'll pick up who finished some stuff. So Angry Redbeard with some more second Beastman. I really like these Beastman characters, and I talked about him in the PMP end of month review, but I'll just quickly repeat what I said there on one thing, that I love this rusty and damage effect on this axe. I think you did a great job with that, Redbeard, and I'd love to see that carried out through some more of the armor there. But, you know, just maybe along the edges. Maybe you did, and the light is just knocking it out. That isn't, in fact, looking at it, it looks like you did, because I can see some brown spots here. So I bet it's just the picture that knocked it out. So in which case, I will revert and say, well done. Okay, I think we're about, nope, we're still in October. Okay. So Sean said he's going to miss this month's deadline a little. That's okay. That happens. You don't have to get to the end of the month. Budget of Sigmar is not about finishing everything within the month. It's just about finishing everything before you buy the next stuff. So all you're doing, there's no end of month thing. You don't lose out or anything, but you do make sure that you just got to finish that stuff up. You just shorten your time for, you know, toward the end, but it's okay to have a little hangover. Looks like we got some blood letters and a demon prince coming for, I bet, his next month's purchase. We can see here the work in progress for his Korgorath and for his blood warriors. And those are looking very nice. Very bloody there. Looks like probably we're in a sort of pre-wash stage, you know, still a progress pick. The only thing I'll say on these, Sean, that I would warn you away from, and this is something I see a lot of painters do when they first start out, when they find out that they've got a lot of colors to access, they just start putting them around and everything. And my note would be this green and this blue, that doesn't work. Random bright colors like this on a model do not work, because all you're going to do is see that. They're not going to look at the rest of the model. Paint over these. Make this the same red or pink or whatever as the rest. You're not achieving what you're aiming for here. You're trying to create variation. If you want to do that in tones that you've balanced out in a triangle on the model. The easiest way I can explain model balance is if a bright color exists, it needs to exist in at least 3 places spread around the model. Think of a triangle that those 3 points create, so that your eye is not drawn to any one location. Also, red, green, blue should not be all on the same model. That does not create a positive contrast. Those are just 3 colors that are not going to go well together. So I would say you could get away with using maybe like a green here, but then we would need that green in multiple places, and we would need to not have the blue. Red and green are fine together. Those are good contrasts. It's when you shove all 3 of these together, you run into the issue. Those 3 colors, they just don't function together. Okay. And then Paul with some more work in progress. So you can see here he's kept the heavy steel and iron tone, but then started to work in some oranges. Paul, again, we got to get some people with some indirect lighting. I'll tell you that right now, for these pictures. But I like the orange and the bright color. So I like what you're doing here, Paul. I want to see some better pictures, buddy. All right. Moving on. I think we're pretty much to the end of the month. I'll just say real quick, because I know it was part of his pledge, that Ash did finish up his Seekers and his Fiends, which he has the converted Fiends, a very, very classic conversion of the Daemonettes on the little spider bodies out of one of the previous starter sets. Spider bodies you can get pretty cheap. The Daemonettes, obviously, you don't need a lot of their upper torsos to create your Fiends, because you don't tend to have that many Fiends in an army. So it's always a fun combination. So yeah, well done there. And I know Ash has I've got to have nothing but respect for this guy. One reason I won't say anything about him for the lighting here is because I'm betting this picture is taken in his truck. He's talked before how he's a long haul trucker, and he has a mobile painting station. So Ash, nothing but respect, brother. That is taking your hobby to the next level, bringing it with you and road tripping and keeping that hobby alive. So I love it. One other thing I like that he's done here is I do love the turquoise and the purple. Green and purple are great together, especially on bad guys. If you think of almost any of your classic villains, as Mr. Samuel L. Jackson explained to us in Unbreakable, green and purple, work well together. These secondary colors, right? They're the non-primaries. They work great as these contrasting colors, and they're but at the same time they just complement each other very well. So I think we'll call it there with what we've got for the month. Oh, well, actually, we'll do Scott R, because I know we had saw him earlier and he had picked that up. And here we go with the big dragon finished. He was a few days past, and like I said, that's okay. So here we go. I like your basing. I like that he's branching out and using the liquid. I just feel like the liquid is sitting on top of the dirt as opposed to being a pool. But, I don't know. That might just be the reflection of it or something I'm not seeing there. What I would say is pick out the dirt more. Like, one of the ways you could avoid this happening is dry brush this dirt more, get this brighter up here, and then get it nice and dark around the edges, right? That's going to create the illusion of a lot more depth. The other thing you can do is when you're laying down your realistic water here, whatever you're using for this, tint this part with, as it's firming up, tint this with some darker brown and leave the green in the middle. Again, it will create the illusion of depth. So it looks like you can see the dirt here and you can't see it there. Okay. But great job on getting this all painted up. Oops, a little sideways shot there. There we go. Yeah, big scary dragon. Love it. And I love that he's got him on the Age of Sigmar base and everything. I think he looks really good on that round. Yeah, way to go. What I'd love to see you challenge yourself with on stuff like this in the future is I'd love to see some more tonal variation in these wings. These wings are so big and beautiful on this guy. And what you want to see with wings is darker near the bone piece and lighter out here in the middle where it's stretching. And what you're getting by achieving lightness here and darkness here is you're creating the right effect, because the skin is going to get stretched as it spreads its wings. The thinnest point where the light is shining through the most is going to be here in the middle area of the wing. Okay, so that will really drive home that illusion, and it's not hard to do. Just some simple layering out here. You know, you could even get away with some dry brush / washing back and forth if you really wanted to keep it simple, and maybe pick up some texture in those wings. So it's my only note on that. But there you go. Great to see Scott finish that off for his pledge for the month. And I will pick up with all the other November ones next month during the review. Super glad we have so many budgeteers. I hope that this wasn't too chaotically reviewed. It's a little bit of a challenge. I'm going to think about more how to review next month. So if anybody has any ideas or wants to tell me a different way to do the reviews, I am open to all suggestions because I am learning this with everybody else. But it was great to see so much work, so many people start new armies. I thought it was super cool. So I know this was a long topic of the week, but I hope it was interesting to watch all the progress. And as I said, this is only month 2. So if you're watching and you're not yet a budgeteer, hey, information, links down below, join up. We would love to have you in the PMP, the Google Plus community, Painters Motivating Painters. It's just a fantastic community that I'm very proud of. It's a fun community of hobbyists where we can offer, where we make a pledge each month, show our progress, show our finished work, offer advice, critiques, and just a friendly support network of, you know, encouraging everybody to keep painting, keep eliminating those awful gray models from the world, because that is what we don't want. Yeah, that is my life's mission, to eliminate ugly gray models, to get some paint on there. Okay, so thank you everybody very much. Big thank you to all the budgeteers who contributed. Can't wait to see what you do in the next month. And as I said in the very back original video on this, of course, we will have a bunch of fun rewards and or I should say awards. I don't know that anybody's going to get anything in the mail other than a sense of satisfaction. But we will have a bunch of fun awards at the end of this this whole process, at the end of the 6 months, where we're going to do some voting from the community to in all sorts of various topics. You know, who has the nicest, or, you know, all sorts of different force, and we're gonna have awards for who got away with the most models, the cheapest, and all sorts of great things like that. So look forward to more in November. The budget of Sigmar rolls on. Thank you to all of you for watching. Have a great evening. As always, we'll see you next time.